Welcome to the world's largest archipelago. And so we're pretty much ready to rock, except that the weather sucks. There's rain coming and again. Yeah, so this video got off to a kind of rough start with the weather, but it's all gonna be better. So this is a massive chart. It's kind of hard to fit on the table, but this is the whole Stockholm Archipelago. So from the north up here, an island called Arholma, and down all the way to this one down south, you have some 140 kilometers or 90 miles. And it has some 30,000 islands. And in this video, we're gonna visit each and every one of them. No, we're not. I'm just kidding. But we're gonna do a few anyway, so you'll get a sense of it. I've been told, I think it is actually true, that this is the largest coherent archipelago in the world. At least it's one of the biggest collection of islands in one place. Utö Island, one of the Stockholm Archipelago party hotspots. So the thing about Utö and several other islands like this is that you have all the services here. You have restaurants, you can stock up on food in your boat, you can buy gas, whatever, go to a restaurant, have a drink, and you can rent a cabin. So the bad weather has passed, and well, it's just a nice evening. A little windy still, but it's alright. The best thing about the Stockholm Archipelago, and indeed the whole Baltic Sea, is that there is no tide. There is no tidal waves, no currents, nothing like that you have to cope with. The water is always at the same level, and that makes it very easy to navigate. So a fun fact about Utö is that they used to have, back in the day, like 150 years ago or something, they used to have a mining operation going on over here. They would dig deep holes and extract, I think, copper or something. Quite impressive, actually, considering that these were dug, several hundred years ago. This island used to be an industrial hotspot, basically. Yeah, you have a great view up here from the old windmill. There's a sign here, let's see what it says. This one was up and running during the 18th century, and the reason was to pump water out of these mines. So they needed a big pump, and so to do that they built this thing. So I mean, if you look at the map over the Stockholm Archipelago, you'll find that there are 5, 6, 7 maybe large islands, right? And the large islands, the big ones, they have they have grocery stores, they have marinas, you can sort of moor your boat, you can eat at a restaurant. But then there are thousands, tens of thousands, small islands, right? And I think great part about this is that you can sort of swing between these two extremes. This is another great place called Biskopsö Island. Far out, you need your own boat to get here, so you'll need a boat, but it's worth visiting because of the nature, and it's a nature reserve, so you can't make a fire or anything like that, but because it is a reserve, it's well preserved, and so it's kind of a mystic feeling to it. Lots of paths, you can sort of navigate your way around the island. There are a few houses on the south side of the island, but those are private, and I don't think you can sort of just walk in there. There are no services, but that's not why you go to this place. This place you go to because you want to experience this calmness, this serenity. This is a very traditional Swedish midsummer celebration. If you want to know what that looks like, this is it. So this island, Norra Stavsudda, is kind of unique in that it's pretty small, but you have all these services. There's a grocery store, a harbor, a small restaurant in the summer. There are ferries going to this island, so it's easy to get here, even if you don't have a boat. If you do have a boat, you can anchor up in the guest harbor, and there are also a number of cabins to rent, so it's quite easy to stay here a couple of nights if you want to. And that goes for many of these medium-sized islands actually. There's bed and breakfasts and one or two hostels, you know. So this is one of the places that I always come back to year after year. Love this place. This is yet another place called Idöborg. It's a small island, but it has a restaurant and a bar and a little harbor. You can moor your boat. It's kind of it's nice. It's not a place where you spend a lot of time. You go there, you eat, you drink, and then you go to some other place. But it's a nice addition, I think. Wow, that's a big boat. He just could not find a bigger boat. The thing is with this archipelago that big boats, let's say larger than 45-50 feet, are generally not that practical because there's a lot of narrow straits and shallow bays that you have to navigate if you want to experience this place. And with a big boat, that gets a whole lot more complicated. And you can rent a cabin, you can rent a room, you can have a conference here if you want. There's quite a lot of facilities, but well, it's okay. It's not a place where you spend your whole holiday, I don't think. This is Finnhamn, Finnish Harbor. One of the most popular places in the whole archipelago. So down here beside me there's a big bay, very popular, can hold like 200 boats, and it has protection from pretty much any wind. And this place has, you know, a restaurant, you can rent a sauna, rent a kayak. So there's lots of things to do. You can eat at restaurant, but also if you want to, you can experience nature. It has it all, basically. I would say this is one of the most popular places in the whole Stockholm Archipelago. And I want to show this because it shows the variety that this place has. You can go to a small island far out and spend a few days there and not see one single person, and then you come to this place and it's you know, all of a sudden there are families, children eating ice cream, swimming and all of that. It's just incredible to have access to all this, and it's free for everyone to use. You can throw your trash, this outhouse or toilet, or utedass in Swedish. Doesn't smell particularly good, but it's free for everyone to use and it works. And there are saunas on this particular island, Finnhamn. There's also a grocery store, a restaurant. Many Americans think of Sweden as a socialistic country. I don't know if that's true, but in a way, you know, this great archipelago, it's open for everybody. Very few of these islands are privately owned. Most of them you can just go to experience nature and wildlife and all of that. If that's socialism, I don't know, but if it is, at least that's a good thing. There is even a trail going from the northernmost island down south, so you can walk yourself through this amazing archipelago, and you camp and you use ferries and rowboat to get from one island to another. And this place behind me is actually a spot where you can find a rowboat, get to the next island, and continue. It is actually a matter of definition which archipelago is the world's largest. I think Finland has an archipelago with more islands than Stockholm. The Stockholm Archipelago has some 30,000. I think the Finnish one has maybe 50,000, but Sweden has more islands overall. And so that would suggest that any Swedish archipelago is the biggest, but you know, it's a matter of definition. This island is not particularly big. I think if you bring your kayak out, you could probably paddle around it in 20 minutes. So it's not a big place, but there are thousands of these islands in this archipelago. And there are so many islands, so you can basically always find a spot just for yourself. The further east you go, the less trees the islands have. So if you want to experience the real harsh environment, the outer parts of the archipelago, the eastern parts, you don't really have that much protection. The islands are lower, and there are not many trees and forests to sort of hide behind, so that's good to know. So there we have it, folks. A fraction of what I think is the world's greatest archipelago.